Mute me away.
Facebook is synced, YouTube is synced, Twitch is synced, chat is synced. Here we go. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope you're staying cool out there. It is darn hot here in Seattle. We're in the 90s, which is almost unheard of. And so I imagine everywhere else and in the San Francisco Bay Area, where most of our listeners are, it must be hitting 100 and crazy out there. So hopefully you have a place to go to cool off, since movie theaters aren't an option in this era of COVID-19. Might have to expand your circle and make some friends, or get an AC unit in the house. I know a few people who have never had AC have now purchased AC for the first time, and I highly recommend it. All right, well, normally at this point is when we bring on Joe Price, but he said he is feeling under the weather and the heat isn't helping, so I do not see him. Let me double check the chat room. Yeah, I do not see Joe Price. So he won't be here with us this week, and we'll have to wait until next week to hear his words of wisdom. I hope he's feeling better today and staying safe out there. So without further ado, I'd like to move on to our guest. And the guest this week is Sky Nelson, singer, songwriter, physicist. Not too often you can put all three of those together in a guest profile. He's a really cool guy, and he has a new album that is coming out today, and this is his record release party. So he's going to perform some songs from the album live, and we'll have discussions about the album and maybe a little bit about physics. And without further ado, let me unmute him. And bring him on. Hey, Sky, how you doing?
Hey, Caleb. Thanks so much for having me on your show today. I'm doing great. I'm definitely hot, but I'm doing great. I feel blessed to be here today, alive, breathing, and with new music that's been on the burner for about a year and a half now.
I quite often talk to my friends about how long it takes to produce recordings. It's quite an effort.
So I'll start off with a couple tunes.
Sounds great. Let me switch to full cam, and away you go.
So envision in this song, about 10 years ago, there was a ice cap the size of Rhode Island that slid into the ocean, and that caught my attention. And I wanted to write a song about the personal impact of climate change, not just the global impact, not just the politics of it, but how does it impact us to be alive right now at this time of massive transformation? This is called Temperature Rise and Fall. She asked of me, how can we become the ones we want us to become? When the barriers are rooted in, my vote is just another leaf on a surely dying tree. I'd rather just hide myself so no one knows about me. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. World may be warming, but I can't tell that from here. Is that me echoing? There we go. There's something ever so beautiful about the stops and starts we take, and all the times we thought that we had it made. Look back and say, what happened there? Why did nothing change? Where are my younger days? I can't see them in my face. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. My world may be warming, but I can't tell that from here. Oh, patience gets the best of me. Oh, a hailstorm of urgency. Oh, I run so fast the grass can't grow beneath my feet. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. My world may be warming, my world may be warming, oh, my world may be warming, but I can't tell that from here. I will not be minimized, shrink my size, or avert my eyes. For that has been already tried, and the less I need, the more I disappear. I depend on you, there's nowhere I can go. I'm counting on you, and I need you to stand for me. Give a thought to what I need. This isn't an emergency. I just need you to take a stand for me. You have found a garden you can go to shut her out, the pain you know. But that leaves me here on my own to face the tyrant that is standing in the door. I believe in you. I've seen your courage shine when it needs to. And I need you to stand for me. Give a thought to what I need. This isn't an emergency. I just need you to take a stand for me. There's a risk you would be taking if you choose my side. Certainty is not what love provides. And I need you to stand for me. Give a thought to what we need. This is an emergency. I just need you to take a stand for me. I need you to stand for me. Give a thought to what I need. Please don't give in quietly. I just need you to take a stand for me.
Woo! So, how did you, what is your perspective or your direct relationship to, ecology? Are you just a concerned citizen of the world, or do you have a particular background in that area that drew you to using those as your subjects for your songs?
I've been really focused, really my whole life, on sense making. Someone like Daniel Schmachtenberger is a big inspiration to me. He studies, how do we envision a more connected, more sane thinking type of thinking, so that the world can make more sense. The systems we have can make more sense together. And I've been really thinking about that my whole life, trying to make sense of my own experiences and how they fit together. And that's where the writing that I do for my book, Living in Flow, comes from. It's how do we make sense of the way that events happen in our lives? And I think the climate, the environment in general, our physical environment, just the room that I'm in, and also the planet that we live on, is a reflection of choices that we make. So I look at climate change and I see choice after choice after choice after choice at personal levels and at collective levels too, that build on each other and create the system that we have. And then it's really, really hard to unravel after a certain point. But you can't unravel it by just banging on the top of it. You got to go back down to those choices at the very bottom of the pile and understand really around fear. We come at the world as human beings from a place of lack and fear. And me and this is my own experience, at least. And it just sort of colors everything and makes it harder to take risks, harder to do things that might be out of the box. And those kinds of choices over time, we don't think about the future when we're making small decisions sometimes, the products we purchase or the types of people we vote for, all those things are colored by the way we look at the world. And so I really am curious about how at the core level, our choices can change that dynamic.
And it strikes me that this topic is one of many in human history where you have a combination of factors that are woven together, so they're kind of hard to detangle for folks.
Yeah,
you pull
I
on
really
one
think that's
piece,
true.
and then you pull on another piece, and you say, "Well, I like that other piece. I'm willing to support this piece, but it's attached. How do I do the right thing here when the right thing is attached to something else that I don't want, and being able to be okay with that."
Well, and that, I think the core of it comes down to compassion and a whole different side of what it means to be human than most of us spend our public time in. Most of the time we're thinking about the news and processing how it could possibly make sense that this would happen or that would happen. And we actually have a whole nother capacity around, what it means for us to love people, to hold disparate views and understand that I might believe really strongly in something. And it's possible that someone else that I love and respect and admire might have a different set of beliefs. And I can't grok that. I can't make sense of that. And yet it's true. And we have a compassionate part of ourselves that's able to handle that disparate clash of information. So that comes out of my writing, trying to expand the container of who we are emotionally inside so that we can handle conflicting information without sort of having to choose a side or having to say, well, this person must be crazy. I know people that are very different, very similar to me, and yet have different beliefs than me. And instead of thinking about trying to decide whose beliefs are right and wrong, I wonder about actually questioning the feeling of being right, how convincing that is to me, and especially when it's my own right, and I think that that's something we can work with, and change and get better at as human beings.
I think you hit on a key thing there, which is don't demonize others. Everybody has a different set of information that they're getting. They have a different movie of reality that they're watching. And you have to accept that there are multiple streams of data coming at people, and it's not because they're inherently bad people that they're tuned to that particular channel or that particular set of information. People know what they know.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, that last song I played, it comes, it can be seen as a personal song or a more universal song. Stand for me. It's a question of, are we standing for everybody? Are we standing for people that we just agree with? Are we standing for, are we calling people to stand for us? How much are we really standing together? And what does it mean to stand together? What do I have to do inside myself to be able to stand up for someone else who's got a different view than me? And so I like, the many different ways to hear that song. I need you to stand for me. Take a thought about what I need,
That's what I call bridge building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you build that connection and say, hey, we have a common interest here. And suddenly you realize you're not so far apart. Yeah, if you make a checklist, you have all these differences, but you have common ground. You all like to breathe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
And we are at a time when suddenly there's all this crisis, and a lot of times we need crisis in order to help see that. So I do think that there's a context within which the crises that we're facing make sense for what we're doing as humans, learning how to expand our capacity to appreciate other people who are different from us.
Yeah. Well, I think you probably have another song on the album that might touch on that more universal side.
I like, I'm going to bring my guitar into the picture here. I like songs that have a personal story, but are also a universal kind of metaphor too. So the song is called I'll Be There For You. When you think about this song, it makes me think of how some days I wake up in the morning and I don't realize, how could I possibly make a difference today? How could I get out of bed and do anything that's worth doing? And then occasionally I'll remember that I'll realize how much some person in my life is affected by me being there. I'll get an email or a message, and what if I hadn't gotten up that day? What if I just stayed in bed? So remember that you make a big difference on a lot of people that you can't even possibly understand. So keep it going. When life has broke its promise and tears have stained your face, and hopefulness has scattered, and worry takes its place, when your schoolwork is obsessive and your backpack is worn through, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there for you. When I see you from the outside, I see who I want to be. And it's funny that you're thinking the same thing about me. When you need some reassurance from a gentle point of view, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there for you. If it's a race that you're running and you're sure you've got to win, maybe you'll feel better if you let me in. The flowers in the window are only there because of you. And the path that I am walking is one you helped me choose. When you forget how far you've traveled and how much there is to lose, I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there for you. Thank you.
Awesome.
So let me take a minute and thank some people, the contributors to the album. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Gowan Matthews, and we can talk a little bit more about how the album was recorded. Gowan is the producer and engineer, and it's his studio. Big creative contribution. He played a lot of the instruments on the album. Really incredible talent, and a really, really nice person. And so I'm really happy to have become friends with Gowan Matthews. Kyle Caprista plays drums. Joanne DeMars plays cello. Kelly McFarlane sings. Austin Willissey sings. Maria Grigg plays violin. Got those backwards. Megan Slankard sings. Ben Leinbach plays drums. My daughter Eliana Nelson Isaacs sings. My wife Dana Nelson Isaacs sings. And Billy Johnson on drums and Dwayne Pate on bass. So there's some mixing around of instruments during the whole album, but it's really got a breadth of talent from the Bay Area.
And for folks You can't read the text at the bottom of the screen. It's www.standformealbum.com, and you find out more about Sky Nelson's new album. Now, Sky, we talked about being supportive of other people, even if they share different viewpoints of view, and working towards big common goals. I am curious, what's your background with this? What's this physics thing? I mean, you're an accomplished singer, songwriter, guitarist, keyboardist, and you have physicist in there too.
Yeah, in college I discovered physics. I mean, I had studied it in high school a little bit, but in college I injured my hands and I couldn't continue on as a music major. So I got into physics and I just switched majors, and immediately realized how much I loved questioning the universe at the basic level. And really interestingly, actually, the first stuff I was interested in was discovering holograms and fractals and what we call Fourier analysis. Those are things like I built a hologram in my lab in college, and those things stuck with me over time. And the research I've done over the years has been connecting that basic questioning of reality at the physics space and time level. What is space and time? Who are we? What are we doing? And what are we doing here? And connecting that to human experience and eventually experiences of synchronicity. How do I end up at the right place at the right time? And trying to make sense of that experience. And it's really interesting. It's very gratifying as a physicist that there are still pieces of physics that are unfigured out. There are holes in the theory. There's ways in which physics is not a perfect science. We develop things that are slightly incorrect all the time, and we can go back and fix some of those things. And I'm kind of a Virgo. I'm really passionate about finding order in things. So my work has continued to be about those same things, Fourier transforms and holograms and fractals, and realizing that those are actually a core central piece of the cosmos. You can actually formulate the laws of the cosmos around holograms and this sort of spaceless and timeless representation of reality. So there's a way in which it's really abstract and theoretical, and there's a way in which it's really practical, because it does, in my view, lead to experiences of synchronicity and connection, realizing that we are actually connected in ways that that we have no idea about on a daily basis.
One great description I once heard is, if you think of everything as being an atom, and you recognize that the atom is mainly empty, and you're spacing these atoms out, a human body is just a denser packed area, but it's still largely space. And if you get down to that atomic level, you're going from atom to atom to atom and atom. Well, the spaces in between might compact. It's just a series of atoms. Yeah. Going out in all directions. And so well, you're just an area of density. Yeah. And where is there? Right. Especially when you talk about, as we zoomed into the atom, we were surprised to find that there was not much there. And I was saying to Joe Price, who unfortunately couldn't join us, he's my regular sidekick on a weekly basis, I said, we have Buckaroo Banzai on this week. And I don't know if you get the reference, but it was a movie in the 80s. I remember the movie. You're saying I'm Buckaroo Banzai? Yeah, because he was a musician, he was a physicist, he was also a surgeon, so you got to work on that part. I sort of forgot about that name, cool. But the whole beginning of the film was all about physics and how atoms are largely empty space, so therefore you should be able to travel through solid materials because they're not really solid. And then after that, they cut to him having gone through a mountain because he went through the empty spaces between the atoms, and then they cut to him doing a rock and roll concert. And I thought, wow, Sky Nelson, I blanked on that. He's our own Buckaroo Banzai. There's something you might not know about the atom. Hydrogen is actually harmonics. The wave function of the electron around an atom, around a hydrogen, is what are called spherical harmonics, which are just a spatial version of the harmonics on a guitar. So I can play this note. Where the harmonics, I'm on the 5th fret, so I guess be there. Music is all about harmonics, resonance, intervals. And
the atoms are actually programmed in the same way using the Fourier transform. And I mean, it's a little more complicated than that, but that's what they call the music of the spheres, right? I think there's something really there to understand at a deeper level.
Yeah, that's a great great connection there between.
So then you got hydrogen and helium, right? There's the octave. Helium is the octave of hydrogen, and then you get to another level, and you've got beryllium and boron, and there's 8 of them at that point, and the octave has eight sections, and that's, you know, the eight parts of the scale. Or it's not actually disconnected. There's some relevance to that.
I had heard that. I heard, you know, originally Music of the Spheres was about this idea that we were living inside all these spheres that had these relationships. And then when we realized that that wasn't the case, that fell out of favor. But like you say, the more we know about the atom now, we're coming back to these old concepts and saying, the details might not have been right, but the fundamental principle or sensibility was spot on.
That's right. Yeah, I think that we can learn a lot from the knowledge of the past, even if they didn't have the mathematical tools or the scientific tools or the other types of science and psychology and ecology. Like they didn't have all that at their fingertips, but they understood nature in ways that are comparable to us or maybe better than us. We can learn a lot from history.
Agreed.
So I got another song here. This is a song about love. Anything good takes time. I've thought a lot about the two of us. Sometimes we feel like giving up. There's no one else that I'd be running to. All I am is here with you. I will never let you fall. I'll stand with you the last of all. When they write the tale of your life with mine, we will stand the test of time. We will stand the test of time. What do you want from this life with me? Is it written out like destiny? I know this isn't what you've had in mind, but we've got time. Let's wait and see. I will never let you fall. I'll stand with you the last of all. When they write the tale of your life with mine, we will stand the test of time. We will stand the test of time. Hold on, hold on, hold on to me. Hold on, hold on, hold on to me. I will never let you fall. I'll stand with you the last of all. When they write the tale of your life with mine, we will stand the test of time. We will stand the test of time.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
How this session started was Lisa Marie sent me a text, and she said, I know someone who'd be great for your show, and started that ball rolling. How do you know Lisa Marie?
Well, actually, thank you for bringing up Lisa Marie, because she took the photo that is the cover shot of my album. So if you saw that on the way into the program or on my website, that was Lisa Marie's shot. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Of course, not you, Caleb, but the audience. She ran the West Coast Songwriters section in Vallejo, which is kind of a thankless job, you know, for a year or 2 years, something like that, maybe more. And showing up month after month as a volunteer to help organize a whole bunch of songwriters who are aspiring to learn, to get better, to perform, to compete. And it's free, volunteer, a lot of organization. And she was just so heartfelt and good at it. And she took great photos of all of us and shared those with us. So I want to give a special shout out to her. And I invited her to, you know, ask her if she would interview me. And she said, I know just the person. She pointed me to you.
Cool. I'm very thankful for that. And I did West Coast Songwriters in Marin, and I met Chris Wurzig there. And
Chris who?
Chris Wurzig.
Okay.
And he was the only other person wearing black at the events. And I'm like, that guy, I got to do a song with that guy. And he rang me up and said, hey, I'm doing a cover of Boys of Summer. You want to be on this album? And I said yes, and it became the single and music video and whatnot. And Lisa Marie was on that album. And then she was also on the follow-up album doing a cover of Bad Moon Rising. So that's how I got to know Lisa Marie, was through Chris being part of West Coast Songwriters, and then he had a connection with the greater group in the conference that happens every year. If you are a singer-songwriter out there, I'd highly recommend in the California area to find us West Coast Songwriters in your area and join it. When I first started going, since I am not a proficient pianist and guitarist, I sort of backed away from West Coast Songwriters, and Bob in Marin was fantastic, and forgetting her
Bob
name.
in Marin?
I'm trying to remember Bob's last name. Anyhow, he just looked at me because I said, don't worry about such things. Bring a CD with backing tracks. We take everybody. It's family. Yeah. And that really just opened the door for me. And between that and Balanced Breakfast, I've met and worked with more artists than ever. So that, you know, it creates these levels of connection and network that starts spreading out from there. And Lisa Marie's part of that. And yeah, huge heart.
Well,
and
this album, this whole album came out in about, except for a couple songs which are older, came out in about 2 months. And that was a period of time when I was a West Coast Songwriters member. And one of the things about the monthly get-togethers is there's all over the Bay Area. So I would go to 2 or 3 a month, different places. And it would get me to write. So one night I was putting my daughter to bed, and she said, Dad, make up a song. So I made up a song on the spot, you know, just kind of like a chorus or something like that. And she liked it. And I decided I would do one. It took me like, 3 minutes to write this song. And then I could go and sort of fill it out with some other parts. But, it doesn't take more than 10 minutes to write a song. If you want to, I can make one up right now, It doesn't have to be good.
I don't know. Is it a challenge you're putting out there right now?
Yeah. So if you have a songwriting inclination and you want to challenge yourself, realize you can write a song in 10 minutes and turn off your judging mind. It takes as long to write a song as it takes to sing a song, really. So I just decided I'm going to spend at least 15 minutes every night writing a song, and I have to finish the song. If I want to spend longer than 15 minutes, great, but I have to finish it. So actually, the second song I played, "I'll Be There for You," came out of one of those sessions that it took me about 20 minutes to write that song. And that was the best one. A lot of them just went in the trash can, trying to find her forever. But
isn't that funny that sometimes it's not how much effort you put into the song. Sometimes the best songs are the quick songs.
It's the effort on either side. You're unplugging the well so that the flow starts to happen.
That's a great description. And I have people say, where do songs come from? And you're like, it's like you said, it's A, doing the work, but also B, unplugging the blocks and the turning off the judgment and whatnot, and just letting things flow.
I remember my dad telling me when I was younger, who's here actually. Hi, Dad. Thanks for joining. John Lennon said that, there's an unlimited number of possible songs that could be written, and there's only 8 notes on the keyboard, or 12 or whatever, But it struck me. It's amazing, that we can be so creative with these little few ingredients, and there's really no limit to the amount of creativity we can come, because it comes from inside of us.
And the expression, I grew up in choirs, so hitting all the notes right was like priority. And it didn't occur to me that expressing the note was what was really important. And as I started doing pop rock, I started hearing people say, don't worry about pitch. Don't worry about hitting the note exactly right. That word's going to come and gone. What's the word? Where is your heart at?
Right. What are you feeling?
There are plenty of singers who sing out of tune but have fantastic heart.
As a writer, I found that even more than as a musician. I'm able to, I realized when I was writing my first book that the times when I could feel something when I was typing, like I felt a passion about some issue that I was writing about, I went back and I read that, and I could feel that feeling when I read it. And I realized that when it was there in the creation, it came back when in the consuming of the media. And I think that's true with music. When a person sings and they feel something inside, then you feel that too when you hear it. It's a transference of emotion. So this next song.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say. I think it was Tori Amos that talked about it being a wheel.
A wheel.
Like you give the energy out to the audience, and then the audience gives you the energy back. Totally. And that's the song. The song happens as the wheel turns. If the wheel's not turning, you're not really performing. Yeah.
It's true. So this song came out of a dream, actually. A lot of the songs on my last album and this album were inspired by something I heard in a dream. And I walked into this room at a festival, and there was a guy playing piano, and he sang this little lick. I'm just a part of a real human being. And it seemed so simply profound, like that's what you are. Yeah. But it was sometimes the simplest melodies that come in dreams are so perfect. It's like there's something about them that's magical that you can't make up if you try with your brain. So I woke up and I recorded that, and then I wrote a song around it. It's okay. I don't need you to say sorry if your words don't come out right. I've got space to allow it to be broken. I want to feel your other side. Let's be gentle but honest. Tell it like it is. Open up a path inside. When I think I know you, I may be wrong. You're just a part of a real human being. If I try to show you just the better sides of me, they're just a part of a real human being. I'm just a part of a real human being. Go ahead and tell your story. I want to hear it come from you. Open-hearted, never boring. Just let me know if there is something I can do. I'll be gentle but honest. tell it like it is, to open up a path inside. When I think I know you, I may be wrong. You're just a part of a real human being. If I try to show you just the better sides of me, they're just a part of a real human being. I'm just a part of a real human being. I've got a past to heal from. You got things you're scared to say. Let's not hold it all together. Perfect just gets in the way. When I think I know you, I may be wrong. You're just a part of a real human being. If I try to show you just the better sides of me, they're just a part of a real human being. I'm just a part of a real human being. I'm just a part of a real human being. You know, if we could just remember the humanity in each other and the struggle that we all have, and I'm just a human being. You know, I might have some crazy beliefs, or you might have some crazy beliefs, but we are just doing our best to put the pieces together. As my little cousin, nephew. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Imagine a ladder. Imagine a pair of doors. Can the ladder fit inside the doors? Apparently not. But what if the ladder were moving near the speed of light? If you were standing still next to the doors, relativity says that the ladder would shrink in size due to Lorentz contraction. Now it fits inside the doors, even if just barely. Let's look at that again. We can momentarily have both doors closed. It's the same ladder, the same doors, but one is moving relative to the other, and so the relative sizes change. Now what about if you were riding on the ladder instead of standing next to the doors? Now the ladder is going to be back to normal length, and the doors appear shrunken along with the galaxies near you. The ladder will definitely not fit inside the doors. But something amazing happens. The far door opens first. Then the near door closes. Things don't look the same, but there's no contradiction. Let's see that again. The far door event happens first, then the near door event. From the door's point of view, the opening and closing events are simultaneous. But from the ladder's point of view, the far door event happens first. And if you're traveling even faster, the doors can shrink down very close. The closer they get, the more out of sync the doors become. And now let's imagine instead of a ladder, we have a cosmic ray, the fastest moving objects we know. It's traveling extremely close to the speed of light, And let's say the doors are 6 million trillion miles apart, like the two neighboring galaxies shown here. For the cosmic ray, that distance is shrunk down very small, and the time of travel is very small. Yet it arrives at the far door about 1 million years into the future. Again, it hardly goes anywhere or takes any time, but it arrives far in the future. And instead of a cosmic ray, what if it were light? The doors and the galaxies shrink down to zero. Light is timeless. Light is spaceless. Even though it appears to move from place to place at the speed of light from your point of view, from its own perspective, there is no place to move to and no time to do it in. There is no separation between events.
So we're back from the video and came to this nice instrumental piece that you were playing there while we were jamming. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think the video only went on the live stream. It wasn't on the Zoom. So we got to enjoy some music in the background.
Yes, that's a very good point. There are other folks in the Zoom this week. And since this is a celebration and party, I think I should bring them on to say hi. So if you're not wanting to appear, then turn off your video. But otherwise, I'm going to bring everybody up and gonna unmute folks.
We can hear people now.
Hi, Sky.
Hi there. Good to have you here. Is that Claire?
Yes.
Hi, thanks for joining.
Yep, I just got on.
Hey, so why don't I throw out a question for you all? Hi, Izzy. Hi, Ashana.
Hi.
So, this album, Stand For Me, it means so many different things. It can be standing up for myself, standing up for ourselves, for what we want personally in the world, for what we need. It can be standing up for other people who need our support, who need our love, who need our attention. It can be standing up for people who are oppressed, against systemic racism, or standing up against poverty, systemic poverty. It can be standing up for a beautiful world that we want to create that has people getting along better, has respect for each other. So it can be just standing up for your own life, things in your own life, whatever, beauty, whatever is important to you. But what is it that is important to you today to stand up for? Something simple.
So Sky, you're asking all of us to toss out something we want to stand up for?
Yeah, you feel like we're standing up for.
I'll throw in a first thing. I was on a balanced breakfast meeting, and someone mentioned a certain company that I have a credit card with and said, these are certain actions that company took over time in certain ways. And I said, I don't agree with those actions. So I put on my calendar, there's plenty other folks to get a credit card from. So I have scheduled to terminate that credit card and move my business to another platform. It seems like something basic and simple, but it puts it where the money speaks.
Right on. Takes a little time out of your day and on your calendar to make sure you follow through. That's hard.
In some ways, I feel that COVID is a blessing in this. It's a huge challenge with economically, personally, especially if you're an extrovert. Luckily, my wife and I are introverts, so when people ask us how we're doing, we're like, we haven't noticed very much. But for extroverts, it's got to be very hard. But I look at it at the same time and say, well, we were all so busy, especially in the United States. The Europeans kind of laugh at us that we're workaholics. If we were working that much and go, we have no time to step back and say, hey, I'm going to change my credit card.
Yeah.
And now we have time, and so it's a great opportunity to use it.
Yeah. Hi, Danny. Good to see you.
Hi. I'm standing up for you today. That's what I'm standing up for.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad you could join.
Thanks.
Everybody else looks like they're being shy about tossing something they want to stand up for.
Oh, I'd stand up for something. I'd stand up for the post office.
Post office.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, America is not a perfect place by any means, but it's got a few things like public education and the post office that make a lot of sense. And it's under attack, so why don't we all go out and buy a whole bunch of stamps? Would that do it?
Hey, it can't hurt.
Forever stamps.
Yeah. And when you buy forever stamps, you're saying, hey, I expect you to be around, right?
That's right. I got to cash in these stamps. You can't close down.
It's under attack.
I'm opening a P.O. box at the post office this week.
Good. Right on.
So
you know, and we see things happening in front of us that are very impactful. So the undermining of the post office actually affects our ability to have fair elections, and the equity of access to the polls for especially lower economic people in low economic situation. So there are big equity issues with undermining public foundations like the post office, and it does happen little by little, you know. So we noticing it happening and taking a stand in whatever way is possible in the moment is important, because down the road you may not have that possibility to be able to do that. Not that I know how to take a stand in every situation. It's like that's where that's what I write about in the books around synchronicity, because when we decide what's important to us, we decide what we want to take a stand for right now, it might be just our relationship. How do I make sure my relationship is healthy? You'll start to see opportunities for that show up. And so the first thing is just to humble ourselves and look around at how can I help?
Oh, wow.
Someone was having a wow moment there, Sky. All right.
I was going to say something. I didn't want to get anyway, but I just wanted to say I actually kind of wrote a little on Facebook, but I understand the work. I'm a little shy. It's true, I've been quiet, but I didn't want to but basically unity, and I think that's a very broad, nice, connected term, right? So to unite, like to unite, right? So it's sort of like harmony across the board. So I'm standing up for unity.
For unity. So you broke up a little bit there, but I heard you talk about unity together as people and
yes, it's a broad. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
I think we heard you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, unity, and I think that's really important. You know, how do we see ourselves as part of one collective, one community together?
That's right.
So I have a book that's going to come out next year, and it's actually online right now, available for pre-order, called Leap to Wholeness. The subtitle is How the World is Programmed to Help Us Heal, Grow, and Adapt. And what I taught, the physics behind it is what I was talking about earlier around holograms. That a hologram is a piece of film that actually captures a version of reality that is whole, that is holistic. You can't chop it up into pieces and have different pieces. You chop it up in half and you can still see both sides of the hologram in there.
Can you talk a little bit more about the book? Hey, Sky, go ahead and, when I was muting all, I muted you too. So give us another rap about the book.
Yeah, so what brought me into this field in the first place 25 years ago is understanding the wholeness that a hologram represents. You look at a hologram, it's like on a credit card, you see a picture of something that kind of looks three-dimensional. Well, it's capturing light in its whole state, in this amazing unfiltered state. And so it's capturing the relationships between the parts of light, not just a physical representation of the light itself. So a photograph, you just look at it and you cut it in half and you get half of a photograph. If you cut a hologram in half, you still have the whole image in there. There's some things that you cannot cut in half. They have a wholeness to them. And I think that reflects the nature of human beings too. You can't just cut out a part of yourself and have what's left be you. You try and cut out a part of yourself, it's still there. It's like a filter you've placed on top of yourself. You know, I don't want to ask for what I need. I don't want to speak my mind. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to be an artist, or I don't want to be I shouldn't own, my own house, or whatever it is that is, your own story about who you are is a layer of filters on top of a whole experience of you. And I especially like to think about the emotions that we're willing to feel. We have a whole range of emotions, and that's what brings us together as human beings. We might have different beliefs about the world, whether we're far left or far right. And yet at an emotional level, we have the same range of emotions, from anger to fear to joy to happiness to resentment to love to compassion. And the more we can embrace the wholeness of all those emotions as they come, without blocking some of them out and saying, oh, I can't do that. That's I don't want to feel angry right now. I got to hold that back. Or the more we can experience all of who we are, the more we come together and see each other in ourselves and ourselves in each other.
Love that sentiment. And when did you say the book comes out?
The book comes out on March 2nd, but it's available right now. You can pre-order it. You can't read it, but you can pre-order it.
Awesome. And will that be available electronically?
Yeah, it'll be electronic and paperback, and probably an audiobook too. They did an audiobook on my previous book. My previous book was called Living in Flow, The Science of Synchronicity and How Your Choices Shape Your World. And that's available in bookstores. So this song is a song about seeing a little more deeply in each other. A few of my songs are about that. And dropping our judgments long enough to allow for someone to be someone we don't expect them to be. La 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 la. La 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 la. We sit in darkness quietly, surrounded by a boiling sea, and I try to open my eyes a bit. For what I've seen, there are no words. The depth of how a soul can hurt, and I try to open my eyes a bit. Here in the dark, I will peel back the layers of my heart. I'll stay with you, and we'll open to the pieces that come through. Me and you. If you take the time to say what's true, to fear I'll raise my voice at you instead. Try to open my eyes a bit, but I try to see the things you do. There's a little bit more room to move as I just try to open my eyes a bit. Here in the dark, I will peel back the layers of my heart. I'll stay with you, and we'll open to the feelings that come through. Me and you.
Though we come from different lives, I'll set my history aside to see your point of view. Underneath suspicious words, I hear the ways that you've been heard, and I want to know the way things were for you. Here in the dark, I will peel back the layers of my heart. I'll stay with you, and we'll open to the feelings that come through. Me and you. I see the light grow steadily. It's coming from inside of me, and I try to open my eyes. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. You know, people come from so many different circumstances, and I feel like I have to balance disappointment that I might feel that things don't go the way I want with appreciation for what I have, and seeing outside of my immediate surroundings, envisioning what it's like for somebody in a different country or a different part of the country or a different part of the city or a different part of the culture. And there's just so many different circumstances, and people suffer in lots of different ways. So the view that I've taken as I've seen synchronicity show up in my life, I've just tried to see the patterns of circumstance. I had an injury in my shoulder this past year, and you could, maybe it's a philosophy of trying to make sense of things and find context so I can make sense of why my shoulder hurts and why did that happen to me. Maybe we can't make sense of that, but I do find some understanding that comes from seeing the bigger picture. So when my shoulder got injured, it made me slow down. This is back in January. It made me slow down. It made me listen a little bit better. So my doctor said, here's what you got to do. You got to do physical therapy on it. And I was certain that I needed more than that. That was never going to work. And I was kind of mad for a while about their plan. They gave me these really cheap bands, to stretch my arm with, these rubber bands. And I thought, God, that's like the best they can do. Well, 6 months later, I did follow through on that, and my arm is most of the way better. So I knew in the moment when I was reacting and saying, no, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. I knew in that moment, some part of me was like, I'm sure I'm going to regret saying this because that's probably the thing I'm going to have to do. And so it's really helped me, this way of looking at things has really helped me reframe my experiences and say, okay, I trust that whatever I'm working towards, I'm building momentum towards it. And therefore, what that means is whatever comes must be on the way. It must be helping me in some way get to where I want to go. And so I can be a little bit more open to the circumstance in front of me and not be attached to where I thought I had to go, because I see that it sort of comes full circle, and I actually learn something from each experience, which is necessary.
That's a great a very great point that you might perceive something as a barrier or a threat, but in fact it is something that's reframing everything you think you are, where you think you're going, etc., and challenges you to explore that, and by exploring that you learn things you otherwise wouldn't have learned.
Yeah, and I think it's important in this time when people can feel really powerless for change to start looking at, instead of getting angry at how things aren't working right or what people are doing wrong, to start looking at what momentum you've built in your life and what momentum you're building by the actions that you're taking, and then look at the opportunities that are coming along and trying to see the connection, like trusting that there's a connection between what you're choosing to work on and what's unfolding in your life. And if we want to see more peace in the world, then we got to work for that in whatever way makes sense to us. But once we do start working for it, we can trust that it'll start showing up in different ways.
And finding what question opens a door. It may be that you've been wanting to ask a certain question and get a certain answer for a long time, and it took having to figure out how to unlock a door that's suddenly in your way to get that answer. You're putting the strap on, so that tells me you got a song coming.
Yeah. I really appreciate everybody showing up today for the release of the album, and you can go to my website, standformealbum.com, and you can download the songs, or a lot of people just listen to them online on either on the website directly or through Pandora or Spotify. And if you want to donate some money for the album, you're welcome to do that, or just whatever amount you want to. Even if you don't download them, you can do that on the website as well. This next song is a song that I wrote before my daughter was born, but I was thinking about eventually, this being about her, because it was really about my own dad. And having been through different experiences in my life where I know that my dad was like, don't do that. That's stupid. That's the wrong choice. And looking back, and he stuck with me through it all. And it gave me some, the song is about doing the same thing for my daughter and being there for her no matter what she chooses. I am willing to hurt with you. I'll be okay with anything you choose. You can ignore all my advice. I'll still be there at your side. You can always count on me. You can always count on me. Whenever there's changes and no security, you can always count on me. Sometimes you lead me down paths against my choice, leading me places I'd rather avoid. That don't matter, no, 'cause my path is you. Wherever you lead me, I'll be true. You can always count on me. You can always count on me. Whenever there's changes and no security, you can always count on me. Count on me when there's emptiness around you. Count on me when the empty is inside.
Count on me when you need some solid ground. I can be that place you can hide. You can always count on me. You can always count on me. Whenever there's changes and no security, you can always count on me. You can always count on me.
Mm. Yeah.
I apologize to folks. I've been muting myself during your songs, and then I'm forgetting to unmute myself when I come back.
Oh, were you muted that whole time? I heard you.
Yeah, you're hearing me over on the Mac laptop with Zoom and
Gotcha.
the broadcast cut out. So what I was sharing with folks was Sky was talking about having some shoulder pain. I've been going through some shoulder pain. We're talking about how sometimes when you experience something, I was having pain in the arm. It hadn't occurred to me that the pain might be coming from my neck. And my wife said, here, roll around on these tennis balls around your neck. And funny thing, my pain went down. And I'd been putting pain patches on my arm and taking Tylenol so my arm felt better. But it was actually something else that was causing the root cause of the pain. So sometimes
I like the way you talk
hyperfocus.
about downstream.
Yeah, so if you look maybe upstream or downstream from the thing you're focused on, that may be where you find your solution. And listen to your wife when she tells you to roll around on tennis balls and you say, no, it's not my neck, it's my arm, because you might be right.
And when we look at the world right now and see all the things that seem like they're problems right now in the moment, but this is actually far downstream from where the real problem is. And so when we look inside our hearts, that's the source of the choices we make. The resentment we might feel towards people, or the confusion, or whatever it is that we are owning in our own lives. That's really the source of the upstream for a lot of the problems we face today.
It's a very good point. As we say, what is the root cause, not the symptom? And quite often we focus on the symptom. I was also saying to Sky, if you do suffer from pain, last Friday I was introduced to a method called tapping. Look it up, tapping for reducing pain on YouTube. You'll find a bunch of videos up there. And it was fascinating because just a few body taps and conversations with myself, and my pain started dropping, and the next day it started dropping in this technique. So recognize that this human experience is a combination of your conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the body all interacting as one thing. And sometimes the solution isn't physical manipulation where you feel the physical pain, but it's actually about doing something different somewhere else. And I want to touch a bit on this week's mystic moment. This week I want to encourage you to expand your circle. Every week I give a challenge out to the audience to look at things in a new light and to increase your life's potential. Sky is my first guest who I didn't personally know before we did the show. But because I had expanded my circle by collaborating on a friend's album, and then that friend of that friend knew about the show, and all these collaborations were going on, that person knew to recommend Sky being on my show for his album release. If you're having challenges, much like a pain in the arm, you're focused on that one place. Widen your lens, expand your circle, and you'll find solutions on out of the corner of your eye, one way or the other, that you didn't even know were standing there. So Sky, we're getting towards the end of our show. I'd love to get another song from you. It looks like you've got one lined up.
Sure. Let's try this one. So I want to come back to the theme of standing up for things, standing up for people. And I think whatever place we are in our lives, we have some sort of privilege. And it's important to use that privilege to highlight and begin to dismantle the systemic privilege that exists in our culture. And this song is called I Am Willing. We don't, any of us, have the solution or know exactly how to proceed with dismantling systemic racism or systemic sexism or systemic economic disparity, but we can be willing and then find our way. This is specifically about being willing to listen more than we speak around people, especially who are used to listening and don't speak as much. And when we leave space for them, sometimes we hear more from them. Together in the darkness, familiar space, I'm filling up the pages with a lot to say. My words are silent, they can't find their place, but I'm still here. I am willing. There is nothing that I love more than you, and I wish I knew how to wait for you. I am willing. My mouth keeps moving, but you're filled with doubt. And I don't leave a moment to hear you out. I can't just stand here and not take charge. I'm still here. I am willing. There is nothing that I love more than you, and I wish I knew how to wait for you. I am willing. I was taught to speak my thoughts when they come. You were not. You were taught to bite your tongue. Hey, 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 hey. So many years doubting words that appear. Hold back, and maybe you will get clear. Hey, hey. How do I mute it? I don't know. So many years doubting words that appear. Hold back. Maybe you will get clear. Hey, 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 hey. I'm on stage, I'm sure of myself. I don't give you space, I won't ask for help, and I don't really care about anyone else. But my time is up. I gotta try like hell to choose for myself.
what kind of man I am. I am willing. There is nothing that I love more than you, and I wish I knew how to wait for you. I am willing. I am willing. I want to thank everybody who came out tonight to support me. I really appreciate you being here. And I want to put a plug out for a foundation that I've been supporting through a fundraiser online since March. RAIN is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and it supports survivors of sexual trauma and domestic abuse. So we've got a fundraiser going there on my page. You can go to standformealbum.com, and it's the link at the top there. You can make a donation if you'd like. And they're doing really important work because right now, in the shelter in place, in this period of time where people are more engaged at home, there's less support for them if they're in unsafe situations. So it's very important to reach out of our bounds and realize that other people may be suffering in ways that we can help with.
Thank you, Sky, and thank you for all the support and all the work you're doing out there, both musically, educationally, and supporting quality organizations like RAIN. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's show. I want to again thank Lisa Marie for putting me in contact for Sky Nelson for his record release to be on Sunday Live, and also Sky just for, seeing that opportunity and jumping in and being on the show. And thank you.
Thanks. If you want to find out more about the cool stuff that we're working on, I started the foundation, or a company called the Synchronicity Institute last year, and we do projects to develop quantum information science and practical tools for changing our lives in the present moment. We've got some videos we're coming out with, a course that you can take called the Living in Flow course, and music as well that speaks to the same issue of waking ourselves up at this time in history that's so important that we each take a stand for whatever it is that we believe to be important right now.
Folks, hang out a little longer. I'm going to go ahead and go to the thank you screen. And Sky, if you could type the URLs that you were just describing in the chat room. Some folks may not have caught that verbally, and that'll give them an opportunity to click on that link and connect with all your projects. All right, folks, I'm wrapping up. Thanks, here. The stream's going to keep running, so Sky can post messages, and he'll post those links. My own links are Caleb Duart on Facebook. Bandcamp, you can go there and hear my 3 different band projects. Each one of those band projects also have YouTube channels, and you can find more of my music there. And just want to thank you for joining each week and participating in these sessions. And I really enjoy the fact that our circle's continuing to expand of who we have on the show and who visits the show. And you guys are all making that possible and inspire me to soldier on. Okay, folks, we're going to stop streaming. Sky will continue to post links on Facebook and Zoom. Check those out, not only the books on physics, but about community and connection and his music as well. During these challenging times, make sure you support your artists out there and put $1 in the tip jar and keep things rolling down the road.